Week 5, Rhetoric Level. Germany had been fighting a war of attrition since the failure of the Schlieffen Plan in the first few weeks of the war. The German generals shortened and strengthened the Western Front and hunkered down to bleed their enemies to death in early 1917. Since the Germans were starving behind the Allied blockade, however, they decided to help Lenin take over Russia and attempt to cut Britain off from American ships. The Russian gambit worked beyond their wildest dreams, but America surprised them. Our overview refers to the Rhetoric Level book, 3 Whys of the Russian Revolution, to explain why Lenin came to power. If you have any personal interest in history yourself, let me recommend this book. It's short, deep, and explains so much about Russia in the 20th century. Germany gambled that America wouldn't enter the war, or if it did, it wouldn't be a force to reckon with. America did, however, and America was a ferocious foe, in part because Wilson had no compunctions about using propaganda and censorship to whip the nation into a fighting fury. There are both benefits and dangers to wartime censorship and propaganda. There are secrets that have to be kept in wartime. Loose lips sink ships, and democracies have to maintain popular support for fighting a war if they ever hope to win one. Yet there are dangers, too. In our opinion, censorship and propaganda can be unconstitutional, unjust, unwise, and unchristian. In America, censoring private citizens tends to be unconstitutional. The Espionage Act of 1917 and the Sedition Act of 1918 suppressed basic American freedoms. Propaganda, as such, is inherently unjust. We only call it propaganda when you twist the truth, making your enemies seem worse than they are and your own country better. Teaching a nation to hate is unwise because it starts it down a slippery slope that can be hard to climb back up. As Wilson himself acknowledged, he feared the American people would forget there ever was such a thing as tolerance. He said, "To fight you must be brutal and ruthless, and the spirit of ruthless brutality will enter the very fiber of our national life, infecting Congress, courts, the policeman on the beat, and the man in the street." And finally, much wartime propaganda flies in the face of the gospel. The most hideous political enemy is still a human being for whom Christ died. Propaganda teaches people to despise and hate their enemies. Jesus tells us to love and pray for them.